Welcome to Josh's House of Nerd podcast.
Greetings, Nerd Nation. I'm Josh, and I welcome you to the podcast. Grab a cold evergreen goblet of blue milk and make yourself comfortable here at my House of Nerd. Now for tonight's sponsor, Level Up Technologies. If you find yourself that everyday issue of fighting your girlfriend's evil exes, then come on down to Level Up Technology, where we can show you all the standard gaming techniques for jumping, flying, sword fighting, and gathering coins, and confronting your exes and more. We have it all. Level Up Technology. We are here when you have the world to face. And tonight we are talking about a fun movie. But before we go into that, let's welcome our guest, John's brother Scott, or as he says, John's more handsome brother, Scott. Today on the podcast, we are talking about the topic for the month of April, which is rom-coms. And this week we're talking about John's pick, the 2010 movie romantic action comedy from director Edgar Wright called Scott Pilgrim Faces the World. It stars Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim, a musician who must win a competition to get a record deal and battle the 7 evil exes of his newest girlfriend, Ramona Flowers, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And this is a cool movie. There is so many people in this movie that it's really cool. Let's talk about all of them. What do you guys think about the movie?
Well, if you talk about all the people in the movie, I mean, we already have part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in here. I mean, we've got Chris Evans, we've got Brie Larson. I mean, we can read this should be considered a Marvel movie.
Which one was Brie Larson? I know who Brie Larson is, but what character was she in this movie? I didn't.
Envy Adams.
She was what?
She's Envy.
That was She was Envy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap.
If you didn't know beforehand that's Brie Larson, I don't think you could pick her out now and say, "Oh, hey, yeah, that's Brie Larson, the same person."
I can pick her out as Captain Marvel, but
Captain Marvel and what's that movie they did on Netflix with Samuel Jackson?
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, I pick her out on that one too.
Interesting one.
Yeah, that kind of weird movie.
It's a mood movie.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, and I forgot that Brandon Roth was in it, and the one girl from Parks and Rec,
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza, she's always great. I mean, people kept creeping up on me, going, "Holy crap! Oh, I know them too. Oh yeah."
Yeah, when the vegan police came out and the second one took off his glasses, I was like, "Is that Robert Downey Jr.?" It wasn't, but it was. Yeah, it was just like, man, is this a Marvel movie? Or it was just kind of my radar going off a little too strong.
Without a doubt. I mean, it was weird to see even Chris Evans in there, man. I don't know if this is like, is this pre Captain America? No, it's not.
It's
2010.
2010s.
Yeah, this is in the middle of all of that and stuff. That's crazy to see him in there as another superhero. So he's played 3 superheroes now. He's played Johnny Flame and
yeah, he played Johnny Flame and Captain America. Only 2 superheroes, right? I think he's only done 2.
Well, he did the vegan guy. That's kind of a superhero.
Yeah, okay.
He was the skater.
Are you a superhero if you go to vegan university for it?
Well, dude, if you get superpowers, like if you get psychic powers like he did, of course, that's a superhero.
Wait. We're still talking about Chris Evans, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Chris Evans is not the vegan.
Sorry, he's not the vegan. That's Roth. He's the skater.
He's the skater.
Okay.
I got confused.
I found out that the stunt doubles in that scene that are all, Chris Evans' stunt doubles, those are his stunt doubles in real life too.
Really?
Or some of them were, yeah. So they weren't just, for that movie. They were some of his real stunt doubles.
Well, I'm not sure there's that many people that look like Chris Evans out there. So if you're gonna do that,
no.
I mean, if you pause it, you'll see that most of them do not look like Chris Evans until you get some screen blur going on.
Yeah.
Not even a side profile did, like, even that one where it's like, oh, that's my
some
double.
Of them had beards. Yeah. Some of them had beards. Some of them didn't. I think it was just highlighting the fact that those movies have to suck. The ones they're making,
Mm-hmm.
here are 2 clicks.
Yeah.
Just like
That's a very
okay.
Liam Neeson setup.
Yeah, very, very much. I mean, that's the vibe it gave. It gave a Taken vibe.
Yeah.
You know, just drop
Taken.
Chris Evans.
You mean
and
every
Liam Neeson.
recent Liam Neeson film? You mean? You meant to say that, right?
Except for you know, I don't think he's. Oh, never mind. He threatened someone to death in Batman too. So never mind.
I was telling
Just
Kurt
trying to
the
think of
other
a
day. I
movie where
watched
he
Honest
hasn't
Thief.
threatened someone, and I can't come up with one.
I mean, the one that came to mind immediately was the Lego Movie, but obviously, Bad Cop threatens plenty of people in that movie.
I forgot he was even in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Bad Cop.
Yeah, I was watching.
I mean, I guess as Qui-Gon
ahead.
Jinn. Yeah,
Well-
as Qui-Gon Jinn, he probably didn't.
I'm pretty sure he threatens people in that. I watched episode 1 a while ago, and Qui-Gon does a lot of very questionable stuff, let me tell you.
That's true. He is a very questionable Jedi.
I mean, he did
He's
bring
the
in,
punk
you know,
rock of Jedi.
what's that?
Yeah, he's the punk rock. This old guy.
Master
Everybody-
Sex Pistol.
It's like that guy coming back in Sound City. That old punk rocker coming back in Sound City. That's what Qui-Gon
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
To the Jedi.
He was pretty defiant. He did bring in, you know, why can't I think Anakin Skywalker into the fold? My brain farted for a minute there. But yeah, dude, he was out there doing that.
But no, I think out of all the Evil X's too, if we get back to the whole Chris Evans, Liam Neeson vibe, I think that one was one of my favorite probably out of them. Just the whole, but you can't grind this rail, and it just turns into like this whole crazy, you know, trick him down basically. It was great. That one and then the first one, mainly because of Anna Kendrick when she goes, "What?" She mirrored my wife's reaction exactly, because my wife's watching this, and up until that point, it's like, okay, yeah, this is kind of a rom-com. It's kind of video gamey. It's not a big thing. But then the fight with Patel starts, and it just goes bonkers. And my wife is like, "What the crap am I watching?"
Dude.
And that choreography was great.
The first time
yeah.
I watched this movie, the entire time, because this is my second watch, okay? The entire time, and I was watching it on my own. I wasn't watching it with anybody else. And I was the whole time going, what in the crap is going on with this movie? What am I watching? I had no idea what I was watching. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So the entire time, not only just that first fight, but every fight, I just kept going, why am I still watching this? What in the crap's going on? I don't even know what's happening. It was different this time, but just so you preface it with that.
Yeah, what did you think this time? Because you went into it the first time and you said you didn't really care too much about it.
No, I really didn't. I kind of vowed originally that I would never watch it again. I mean, honestly, it made that kind of a weird impression on me. And I just walked away like I just wasted 2 hours of my life. It was like that kind of a vibe when I watched it. And I don't know if it was the mood I was in or whatever. So watching it this time and knowing what I was watching and knowing kind of the little bit of the background of the comics, I didn't even know it was a comic at that time. And now that I know all of that, I'm going to have to say that I enjoyed it way more this time. Way more. Before I couldn't. It was right up there with Sucker Punch in my head of weird on screen.
Oh, wow. Ouch.
Yeah.
No, I could see that. Editing and everything else and story wise, what it's trying to do.
Kind of like a
I
dual
can see.
story type thing.
Yeah, no, I could see it.
Yeah, all the
They're both
colors.
really wild rides.
Yeah.
Yeah, visually.
And so because I didn't know what to expect, I that's where it was in my head. And now I can genuinely say that, I really kind of enjoyed watching it this time. I actually I was into it and was laughing at parts and scenes. And, you both told me last week that I should watch the visuals and kind of the camera angles and because I knew the kind of the gist of the movie already, I was able to watch some of those, and I think it made it more interesting. All of the little subtle things going on, all of the little tags and titles and 1-ups and points.
Well, and then some of those shots come straight from the graphic novels too.
Yeah.
There's some very iconic shots from that come straight from that graphic novel, and really the graphic novel for me was the first way that I found this film.
Oh.
actually Scott had bought the all the graphic novels, and I was looking for some stuff to read and started to pick those up, and that's kind of the first time I'm like, hey, my little brother has really good taste in something.
Darn right I do.
Wow.
In a lot of things, thank you very much.
In a lot of things, yeah. And as soon as I finished those and I realized there's a movie with freaking Michael Cera, I was like, this is the best day ever. I still haven't bought the graphic novels. They're on my wish list. I need to pick them up. But
yeah, I've still got my copies of those from when I got them in high school. It's one of those things where I also go, oh wow, high school Scott had some good taste on things that I'm grateful that I've inherited, because there are a lot of things that high school Scott liked that I'm like, oof, little suspect on that. But I reread all of the novels this week, and they're really fast reads. It's not a super long thing, and there was a lot of shots and like moments, like when the Clash of Demon Head starts, like that first shot when the lights come on and Envy Adams like has her back to the microphone, like that's a 2-page spread, and like the first volume is recreated like almost shot for shot in like the first 40 minutes. It's kind of crazy, honestly.
Wow. Yeah, it's one of the few movies I've seen that stay that close to the visual aspect of a graphic novel that they're recreating.
I loved it how they like did the highlights are on the screens, like the arrows pointing at things, or they would like have that aura, or like when they were doing like the bass off, and you could see like that like circle around, like when he's like playing it, and then it's like almost like it's emanating like these waves of sound. I love that stuff. Is that kind of stuff that was in the comic book as well?
Yeah. I've been thinking about this like all week and reading the graphic novels and watching the movie again. And the feeling that I got from watching the movie was honestly fairly close to reading all 6 volumes of Scott Pilgrim in less than a week. And just like speed reading graphic novels, because the way that Edgar Wright frames things and the way that he transitions things, like it's very abrupt and it's very like close and boxy, and it like he took so much of the essence of like the medium of graphic novels and he transferred it into this movie with how he edited it and how the cinematographer shot it, and it's like super, super impressive.
Well, and if we can take a second to talk about you mentioned the transitions. That's probably the thing that stood out to me the most in this movie, that I'm trying hard to come up with another movie whose transitions between scenes were so unique and so well done. Like, doors opening into the school, where Scott's going to meet with Knives, or just the transitions between every scene. Everyone was unique. Everyone felt smooth, buttered, and practiced. Like it was amazing to transition between those scenes. And like you said, it felt like you were being taken on this journey, and not just standard cinematography, fade to black, or cut to this next scene. Everything's uniquely tied together, so you never get lost.
I never thought about it that way until that's true. There are some very unique transitions in this movie. It's hard to. Everything in this movie seems to be pretty unique. More so than a lot of movies.
If you are looking for other movies that have like the similar editing style, then you just look at more of Edgar Wright's movies. Like Hot Fuzz is like,
that's true.
I love that
absolutely
movie.
In the same vein of just like quick snappy cuts and editing that creates physical comedy. I think that's something that Edgar Wright does better than basically anyone else. Just the way that he edits things is just hilarious, and you can see the same style but used for like a serious effect in Baby Driver, also by Edgar Wright, which is like as far from a comedy as Scott Pilgrim is a comedy. Like Baby Driver still has some funny moments, but it's very much a serious movie with like serious stakes. But the editing is still just as punchy and still just as creative and inventive. Like I think about I think about the opening shot of Baby Driver, and Baby is going to go get coffee, and it's just one long take, and it's like like 2 or 3 minutes, and it is absolutely amazing because it also has the credit sequence in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about the fight between Evil X number 4, Katara / Anne Egg, and Ramona, and that whole fight was just like a swirling long take, and it was just super, super impressive.
Well, and then if you catch it before each of those fights, they have a stylized number or Roman numerals denoting which one of the X's that is.
I love that. I loved all of how each fight was kind of unique in that.
And I'm excited to see more of Edgar Wright's, like his more serious stuff coming out. So he's got 2 new movies. The Last Night in Soho, which is about a girl that finds she can travel to 1960, and then The Running Man, which all we know is kind of it's set in dystopian America. But
wait, he's redoing The Running Man?
Yeah, but that's all we know. We don't know how close of a redo it's going to be. But I'm really excited to see more of his serious stuff, because like Scott hit on these transitions between scenes, like his movie magic that he's perfected for comedies has actually transitioned over really well to some of these dramatic shots.
It really makes you wonder. One of my favorite movies, and a lot of people not everybody would agree with me on this, but one of my favorite movies in the Marvel universe was one that he didn't do, but he's gonna do, which was Ant-Man. And it always made me wonder what he was going to do, because he did, if you look in the credits of that, he did like all the pre-production, everything, and then they had like some kind of disagreement about something, and he walked away from being actually, Peyton Reed's now the director, but it was originally going to be Edgar Wright. And it just makes you wonder, like with all of the stuff you see from what he did with Baby Driver and even this, if, how different even Ant-Man might have been.
I wonder if it would have out Ragnarok.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I would love to see a collaboration between Edgar Wright and I can never pronounce his last name well.
Taika Waititi?
Yes, I'd love to see a collaboration.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Oh my goodness,
that would be amazing.
Okay, so
just somebody throw him a lot of money, please, and just see what happens.
So one question I had for the comic readers is, did the dialogue, was that more comic style, or was that more like just usual Edgar Wright, choppy, really quick, quippy type thing?
That's a good point.
Which he's done in the past.
So while I was going through the first 40 minutes and going through the first volume, honestly, I think about 90% of the dialogue is lifted directly from the graphic novel. And obviously they're going to be Edgar Wright's interpretation of that dialogue.
Timing is a thing. You're supposed to somebody speaking it, so there's a lot more that goes into the dialogue when you have actors in speaking roles than there are when it's written on the page.
Oh yeah, but I think it really gave me the sense of reading a graphic novel quickly, where you are kind of just getting through the lines as fast as you possibly can, and there's kind of that sense of artificiality about it. There's really little that is natural about the way that Scott Pilgrim versus the World movie handles dialogue, but I think that works really well with the heightened sense of realism in the movie, and how it's adapting the graphic novel, and the frenetic editing with it too. Something that Edgar Wright's editing really does well is it takes those super page turn moments where you change something and suddenly you've got this huge spread in front of you. But the pacing of the graphic novel is actually a lot more careful. It's a lot more steady and slow, and the awkward dialogue, it feels a lot more natural unless you're reading it very quickly.
Well, I always get reminded when I watch this movie of Aaron Sorkin type writing, where it's nobody speaks like that, but it's entertaining because it is kind of on a movie type situation.
Yeah, I think with the one part that there's few pieces of dialogue that really get me. One of them, I think, I'm pretty sure is lifted straight out of the comics, is when he's in the bar, and the little spinning thing goes on his head, telling him what to say, and it lands between the I gotta pee, and I don't know what it was, but basically he's like, I gotta pee on her, and they're just like, well, I lost it. I lost it in that line of dialogue. I had to pause. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, almost anything that Wallace said got me chuckling.
Oh yeah, Wallace was fantastic.
Dude,
I think
that was amazing. He's just a funny character. Go ahead, Scott.
I think Wallace is honestly the character that made the leap the best for me. I think when it comes to graphic novel and movie, Wallace is the character that is most Wallace through all of them, and I think that's amazing.
He's just just like in the movie, like he's in the graphic novel.
Yeah, I feel like he's probably one of the most true representations of that.
So he's a complete a-hole like he is in
Except for he's not necessarily a big a-hole. I mean, he's letting Scott bum off of him. He kind of is, stealing Anna Kendrick's boyfriends.
Yeah, which is great.
That was hilarious. Do you want to know who's gay in my class? Like, no.
Does he wear glasses?
And then later on in the film, obviously, he's with that guy with glasses.
I didn't make that connection.
Yeah, you see what's coming because he's wearing glasses and he starts fawning on him. You're like, oh no, I see where this is going.
And just the Wallace again.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm gonna say that the character, every actor in this movie, I've always struggled a little bit with Sarah, a little bit, just 'cause sometimes the way that he is, his delivery of lines and the way he does it, because I kind of feel like sometimes that he's the same person in almost every movie that he does. He delivers his words about the same, but honestly, for some reason, it didn't bug me as much in this movie as did. And I thought all the actors and actresses were amazing. Matter of fact, it made me want his girlfriend and I mean, they were just adorable and just so genuine, especially Knives and stuff like that. She was just so genuine.
I think with Sarah too, I have some kind of the same feelings of Sarah, like watching him in things like Superbad. But I will say the two things I love him in the most, and I think just fit him so well, is this, Scott Pilgrim, and then Arrested Development.
Yeah. I
think those two roles he was born for, and he just knocks them both so far out of the park. It's ridiculous. But other than those two roles, I do kind of struggle with Michael Cera. I'm
glad I'm not the only one. I kind of feel guilty a little bit that I've always felt that way. I just am I not giving this guy a chance? But the way that he delivers, his lines and stuff, it's kind of always the same, and it's that same delivery, and it's in some things it bugs me, and I don't know why, but it didn't bug me so much in this one. Maybe it was just because everything was so, immersive that I was drawn away from those things and pulled into the rest of the movie and stuff. But I thought everybody acted this movie just super, super well and stuff. Every character kind of fit exactly where they should. I don't know. It's hard to explain, all the little things that each character does, but I think everyone kind of had their own little thing going on, and I love that not too many people was like a static character.
Well, and then the characters themselves are great, but the chemistry between the actors is so good.
Yeah.
So not too long ago, I want to say it was July or June last year, the majority of the cast got together for a read through of the screenplay of Scott Pilgrim in the World, and the chemistry that was still existing between them on screen. If you have a chance to watch that read through, at least part of it, the chemistry is still solidly there. They just bounce off each other so well.
It's evident in this movie that when they're, talking to each other, I mean, everything just feels so fluid, in the way that they do interact with each other, which again, that's down to the director and, and the talent of the actors themselves and stuff. But there's so many good things that are in this movie. And I'm shocked. Again, I'm just kind of blown away how I didn't see a lot of this the first time. How I missed a lot of all this stuff.
If you don't know what you're getting into, this movie moves so fast, and the editing is so different from what kind of the typical movie editing that it's just kind of a whiplash, and you might not catch up before the end of the movie. It's definitely possible.
No, I totally agree with that. It's almost like let's look at it in the way as like I was almost in shock in the sense when I watched it originally. Like I just couldn't. I was so in shock that I just couldn't absorb anything. Unlike movies like Sucker Punch, where I don't care how many times I watch it, I never want to absorb that.
Yeah. Well, and then a couple of the actors, or I should say actresses, got a really good, got their start in Scott Pilgrim, or at least a really good land up in other roles. So, for example, Ellen Wong, who plays Knives Chow, not too long after she did Scott Pilgrim, she went into some TV series, but then went into Dark Matter. And also did Glow on Netflix. I mean, she's been in some bigger stuff since then too. So, and my wife was watching Glow the other day, and that's when I found out Ellen Wong was in there as well. And I was just like, I know her. Where do I know her from? And it took me like another week for me to figure it out.
I wouldn't expect Dark Matter to be more successful or more known.
I wouldn't say more successful, but it was a successful series.
Sure. I got you.
So, and that's what I mean. Like they went on to other successful things, not more successful, but for some of them, this was kind of their break into successful TV and film.
It was it got them noticed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. I'd never heard of this Ellen. What was her name again? Ellen Wong.
Ellen Wong. Yeah, she's Knives Chow.
Yeah, no, she was great. She played a great part in that. I thought
Thomas Jane, the vegan police officer, one of them. He's in
Westworld.
No,
he was the Punisher.
I'm thinking of the other guy.
Yeah, he's in The Expanse.
Oh, man. Yes,
he is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's great in that.
Well, and the other vegan cops in Westworld.
Yep, the other vegan cops in Westworld. Clifton Collins Jr.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. I wish I could see him in more things. I think he does a great job.
Yeah, playing opposite of what's his name in Westworld. I always like their scenes together.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I always felt like the chemistry between him and man, what is his face? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, the Man in Black.
Yeah, the Man in Black, and I just can't remember his name for the life of me. I'm gonna have to look it up before I go to bed, or I'm just gonna lose it.
Sounds good.
What else do you guys like about this movie? Anything else that you guys want to bring up? I mean, we brought up a lot of the cinematography.
Well, what do you guys think of the songs? So
that's a good one.
A bunch of original songs for this. So, did any of them...
I loved the Clash of Demon Heads first one.
Yeah,
the only one they really did.
Yeah,
I loved the "We Hate You."
Yeah,
I actually like the one. I don't remember. All I remember is the one. It's talking about a garbage truck.
Oh yeah. My garbage truck.
I loved it.
I more than the music itself, though. I loved the openings to all of Sex Bob-omb's songs. It's like, we're here to sell out and make money and stuff.
Yeah.
All of it they're just so timely and great, and I loved it. And Kim did a fantastic job as the drummer. Just blew it out of the
park. I just love that name, Sex Bob-omb. That's awesome.
And young Neil and
young Neil. That's now Neil.
And I do kind of love that twisting at the end where it's, he's found the power of love, but then it turns into the power of, self-respect and, how that was more powerful at the time. Like, it was just an interesting twist on it. And, it makes you stop and think just a little bit about it and kind of like think of Scott Pilgrim in a different light. And did he really mature throughout this film or especially the graphic novels? Because he's, especially in the beginning, he's quite a loser.
So before we get into the message of the thing, I don't want to leave the music for a second. I found out that Beck wrote and composed the music played by Sex Bob-omb in the film.
Really?
Beck did?
Yep, Beck did it.
Oh wow.
Beck. They're all his creations. That's interesting.
That is interesting. That's actually really cool. And that it kind of, I was going to say, I can't say that it reminds me of him, but it makes sense. Like, kind of
this
the
early
uniqueness
stuff.
of it.
Yeah, like think back to the early '90s stuff when he broke.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of
The first time I actually heard Beck and really knew who he was and stuff was actually because of Futurama. So
Oh,
Really?
okay.
yeah, there's
youngins.
there's an episode where Bender runs into Beck and he's got like he's a head in a jar, like most of them are, with his own body, and it's just great. It's one of the earlier episodes too, so it's even better because it's before Fox started censoring all their stuff.
Yep.
But I did not know Beck did that. That's really cool.
That is really cool. What do you think the message, if there's a message of the movie, what do you think the message was?
I don't know how much of a message there actually is, other than the question at the end it leaves you with. To me, the movie asks a question at the end and maybe answers it, but it's like, has Scott Pilgrim matured because of this series of events? Has he become a better person than the person we met him with, met at the beginning of the film or the graphic novels? So I don't know that how much of a moral there is so much as a question it's asking the audience, to me anyways.
Okay, so you don't see much evidence of growth, or not enough evidence of growth through the movie?
I don't know. Like I'm left at the same.
The whole conversation in the bar where they're talking about, his exes and how he left them or they left him and that type of thing. And he's, I don't know, maybe coming to realize that, he's not the good guy in this situation, especially with knives.
Yeah, that he was he could be considered a bad ex, that he's been fighting.
Well, I mean, he cheated on knives.
Yeah.
That's a bad ex.
Yeah. And they did point out at the very beginning that he was dating a high school kid.
Yeah, emphasize that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Knives Chow, 17 years old. Every time she's on screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Wallace calls Anna Kendrick.
Yeah. So I think the question of like what is the moral, or like how do these characters grow? I think that's something that is a really, really big difference for me between the graphic novels and the movie. Because in the graphic novels, Scott Pilgrim is your one friend who you're like, I don't even know why we're really friends. He's kind of an a-hole, but like he doesn't realize it. And so I can't really blame him for the crap that he does. He's just kind of an idiot. And we've been friends. I can't remember why, so we're still friends. Like he's kind of just like friendship in momentum. And and there were so many times where I was like, why do these people like care about Scott Pilgrim? And then he'd say something funny or do something dopey, and I'd be like, okay, that's why people like keep him around, because he isn't actually like harmful. He's just kind of an idiot. And then throughout the novels, like he does grow a lot, and he confronts things about himself and about other people and his relationships, and like there is a lot that goes on. And I think where he ends up at the end of the graphic novel, I don't think there's a question of like, did Scott grow? I think it's a matter of like understanding exactly how and like what came to that. The movie, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask exactly what you're going to, so go ahead.
So the movie, on the other hand, I think for me, a lot of the like opening chemistry, like a lot of the sparks between Ramona and Scott, were one of the few things that did not make the jump from like the almost shot for shot remake of the first volume. Because the first time that Scott Pilgrim talks with Ramona Flowers at the party, he says, "Hey, I like your shoes," which is a totally normal thing to say. And then he says, "Am I dreaming?" Because the scene before was him like playing a gig and seeing her skate through again, and him saying, "I'm dreaming," and she says, "Good call." And so at the party, he's normal, but then he's like, "Oh, I'll just casually say, I remember you being in my dream." And she was like, "What the heck are you freaking talking about?" But in the movie, he does like the Pac-Man story, and all he does is he sidles up to her and just starts talking about Pac-Man. And let me tell you, there is no woman on earth who would be like, "Okay, all right. And at that moment, she is like, how about no? And he's like, I'll never talk to you again. She's like, okay, that sounds good. But then when they have like the meet cute from him, like orchestrating the meet cute, like at his door when she's delivering the package, that comes up again, and Ramona Flowers is like embarrassed because she's like, oh my gosh, the dude from the party who said like, am I dreaming? Because I've been in your dreams. I'm so embarrassed about that because I also have a personality. We'll get to that in a little bit, maybe. But just the interaction and everything that Scott says is just so weird and just so like no person on earth would say yes to a date from this guy saying these things right now.
Law of large numbers. It's possible that someone would, but it does seem unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Puckman is pretty interesting.
But like leading with that out of absolutely nowhere, like
I've been to some parties where maybe that wouldn't work, but I'd seen a lot of guys try to do that. So yeah,
Big gulp, huh?
yeah. It's not guys being awkward at introductions is not an unusual thing, really.
I know, but then like that is what starts their relationship in the movie, and then
Yes.
it's like I feel like from where it goes from there, I'm down with it. You know, like the struggles that they have, like the fights that they have. But like if they'd taken that conversation instead of like leaving out the one conversation that I think is like one of the most important because it's basically the start to the relationship and it's really cute and it's on both sides of them being weird to each other, whereas in the movie it's basically Scott Pilgrim being like, how's it
And
going?
almost feeling bad.
And then her showing that she's weird by picking him for that, I guess.
Speaking of that, did you guys like feel ever? I don't know. Sometimes I felt like they didn't have anything in common. Why are they together? I mean,
Yes.
is that the point? I mean,
Well, yeah, it seemed like she was like an 8 and he's a 4.
yeah.
So, like, why is she with him? Kind of thing.
I mean, in the graphic novel, like, you know, they're all the characters kind of look the same, but it's established pretty quickly that in the world of Scott Pilgrim is a looker. And so that's also something it's a little easier to believe.
Gotcha.
And then they picked Michael Cera. Okay.
It's probably about delivery, I bet.
What's that?
I bet it's about delivery. Because if Scott Pilgrim's supposed to be awkward and weird, you know,
You can't
in
find
these
someone better
interactions,
than Michael Cera.
I like, how list the number of people that would work in that role.
Maybe
sure.
Andy Samberg.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
But he's a bigger guy. He's not a slight guy, and you need a slight guy for Scott Pilgrim, or else some of these things just don't work.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I mean, even just their interaction, I always question that. It's like, you know, it almost felt like they didn't know what to talk about ever with each other. It was just, you know, it felt very forced.
I mean, some
sometimes.
of that's real dating, though. I mean, we talk about awkwardness in meeting women and stuff like that. The first real interaction I had with my wife was getting her to give her number to my friend because I didn't have a phone to keep it in. I was like, that's got to be awkward.
That's pretty good.
Like, I didn't want to lose her number. It's like I could have used a pen and written it on my hand.
So what you're saying is exactly opposite of your brother. He's saying there's no one that would ever hook up based on those awkward things, and you're going, well, actually,
yeah,
I the reason I'm married and
story all the time, and that's why I'm married and have 2 kids. Like, I mean, honestly, though, I think for me, like the thing that worked the least of this movie is like Scott and Ramona, and that might just be because like I appreciate the graphic novels having a lot more space and time for their relationship to like to actually develop rather than kind of just being a thing all of a sudden. And especially like Ramona has a much sweeter and like more open, but like guarded in like surprising ways. Like Ramona is like a sweet and open person until suddenly she's completely closed off. And like that's kind of a super weird thing about her. And that's something I really wish that had been done more with this adaptation. Because Ramona feels like I don't know, like cool hipster chick, and that's just kind of like
Kinda
she feels more like an
the whole
more
time, yeah.
more like an
doesn't-
archetype.
Yeah, she doesn't really move the story forward. It's about Scott and the exes. It's not about her. She's just kind of the catalyst.
Which is like a shame because Scott and Ramona are like equally main characters and like their stories move forward from their own agency in the graphic novels on their own. But at the same time, if you're going to be jamming them into a 2-hour movie, like you kind of have to make a decision.
Yeah, something's going to be sacrificed. And you couldn't sacrifice the exes.
No.
All right. Like that's the whole
That's like
arc.
the driving force.
Yeah. It'd be a very different movie if you did so. Which is fine. Maybe it'd be a fine movie, but it wouldn't lend itself to kind of the zaniness probably of how Edgar Wright put it together.
Yeah, like the characters, like the way that he adapted it is he took the style of the graphic novels and he took each character kind of just as like their base essence, and that's what he created the movie with. And it's stylish and it's action packed, but it also doesn't really have like a humanistic emotional romance. Like
The heart. You're talking about the heart of the story.
yeah, like the heart of Scott Pilgrim versus the World is like a rapidly beating like alternative indie rock heart that is like going 300 beats a minute. And it's not like a slow, like, let me tell you my feelings. It's punch Matthew Patel in the air and have him burst into $2.40.
It's not enough for the bus.
There's a comment on racism in there somewhere. All the white people burst into way more coins.
Well, he was the first boyfriend, like that's it ramps up.
If you
like
sure,
the points progressively get more.
The Japanese twins they burst into the second most cash. So I think that.
I'm just messing with you. I'm trying to create a narrative where there isn't one, but yeah.
They had to use all the extra coins to pay off those weird succubus backup singers.
Oh, those were weird. Oh my goodness.
Well, it went Bollywood a bit.
Yes. That whole transition, that first fight was weird because it was like a standard, like almost like a
normal movie.
The coordination at the beginning of that fight before it broke into Bollywood, was sick.
It was awesome.
And on top of that, if you notice the way they did the transition between the stunt doubles and the actual actors, because Michael Cera's face is on screen for a lot of like the blocks and stuff like that. But when they're doing the more wild stuff, obviously it's not. I mean, even the body types are different. But what they do is they do a quick zoom in when they transition to kind of shake the camera and zoom in, and it masks the cut to the real actor.
Stunt double,
back and forth between the actor and the stunt double, and I thought that was really cool. It's really well done.
I would say that
I love the throwback in most of their fights to it was like 40 seconds they were playing that video game, the dancing one, and how many of those fights kind of choreographed back to those same moves.
Yes.
I was kind of hoping they were going to reincorporate like the over the back flip that they do.
I did too
with knives, but they didn't do that. I was like, oh,
they did in the last fight with Gideon.
No, they didn't. They did not. They did not do the cartwheel over the back of each other in order to trade places in position. They didn't. I was looking for it.
I watched it.
I was looking for it. It wasn't there.
I actually was looking for it too, Crit, and I didn't feel like I saw it either. Actually.
Yeah, I mean they did do some positional switches and stuff like that, but it wasn't that.
But I mean, they did everything else out of that. They did like the solo mode and all that.
Yes, they definitely homaged back to it. And that was true. But I was looking for like specific like reused details, reincorporation, but they didn't do that, which is not a big deal really. I was just commenting on the fact that I was looking for it. It didn't happen. It's not a big deal.
Sorry if I talked over you. I was on mute. I didn't realize, or no, I had muted my sound on accident, so I don't know if I talked over you. I apologize.
You're fine.
You awful person.
Well, so we established that once again, the written version is better than the film version, but the film version is pretty good.
The film version is a lot of fun. Like, it's just the editing is just like absolutely like the cream of the crop when it comes to like action comedy. Like, it doesn't get better than Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And I would have fought you on that like before this watching, but I definitely can't fight you on that one now.
I don't know. Airplane has some pretty good fights.
Amen to that, brother. But I would agree. I would agree that this is a much better movie than I think most people let on this. You know, a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's a weird movie." Well, it is weird, but I think it's weird in a very, very cool way. And I think if you kind of understand what you're getting into, I feel like this is, you know, I say this a lot, but you know, there's movies that, you know, I think are better when you're watching it. I know I didn't watch this with you guys in a group, but I knew I was watching it for this, and I was watching it for a second time, and you guys had told me to look out for things. There are movies that I feel like are better when you're watching it as groups, and you know,
or for a purpose.
Yes. And I was watching this for a purpose, and it enhanced my viewing. You know, I've told the story of, you know, like Holy Grail and stuff like that on the last one, that I didn't like it the first time, but the second time when I was with a group and joking around, that I just absolutely adore that movie ever since then, you know. And this is one of those ones, I feel like that's one of these ones that, because I had a purpose, I looked into it more, I understood it, and therefore it worked out better. And
Awesome.
I would definitely watch it again.
Well, is that everything we want to say?
I'm good.
Do we want to go into
ratings?
Ooh.
Yeah. I will give my rating first, if that's okay, guys.
Right.
I'm going to give this 8 out of 10 glasses of coffee with half and half in it. And
Nice.
I would definitely watch this again. I would buy this movie, which is definitely
Nice.
a 180 switch. Who wants to go next?
I would watch this with my mom. I don't think she'd stay in the room for more than about 15, 20 minutes.
I think Dad would like it.
Or she'd cross-stitch through the whole thing or something.
Scott, you could vouch for some of these things. Some of these things he says in his ratings, I'm just like, is that really his mom?
Oh, that's absolutely true. Our mom is like the sweetest woman on the planet. She wouldn't like this movie.
Fair enough.
I like this is definitely like a dude movie. Like, this is much more of a dude movie than like a girl movie. Like, that's kind of
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it 19 out of 23 screen transitions.
Very nice.
Those are
Very
really good
nice.
ones.
And there was a lot of good ones in there. Lots of good ones on that one.
Some really clever playing with time too. Which I thought was nice.
Yes, Scott, go ahead for your rating if you'd like to give one.
You know, I'll just look at my review on Letterboxd, and boring, but like 4 stars out of, I guess, 5 evil ex-boyfriends, but also a heart. It's like 8 out of 10, basically.
Okay.
That's a great rating. That is a great rating. All right. Well, let's see. Next week's
We're on to the
movies.
final picks of rom-com, thank freaking goodness.
Yes. Oh,
come
stop
on.
it.
It hasn't been that bad, has it,
No,
John?
it has not been that
No,
bad.
it hasn't
Well,
been
John
horrible.
doesn't believe in romance, so like
Find
obviously
that
he's
out.
just been suffering the entire time.
Scott, when I picked this topic, you should have kind of heard the, you know, almost like, and I knew it was going to happen. I just knew it. I even told Crit beforehand, John's going to kill me when I do this rom-com one. I had all my girls here at my house. They were like, all my daughters were like, do rom-com. You haven't done that yet. And I feel like you've gotten it off pretty easy on these rom-coms that we've
Crit
picked.
still has to go. We could be watching Le Cousins Dangerous or something.
Yeah.
Pull another Arrested Development.
All right.
Go, Crit.
For rom-com, number 1.
It's going to post.
A fire only clever words can kindle. Number 2. It never happened if it never happened.
Mm.
And number 3. Nurses deserve respect too.
I really hope these aren't Adam Sandler movies like I was planning to do.
Do these nurses have big hooters? I'm just wondering. It will influence my pick.
I tried to debate whether or not Strange Brew is a romantic comedy.
Number 2 really enticed me. I don't know. Number 2 and then maybe number 3 in that order, or the ones that enticed me the most.
I'll go. None of them sound particularly fantastic. Not in a bad way. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'd have to say number 2 as well.
Scott, was there one that sound interesting to you?
Oh, number 3 probably sounded the most interesting because it sounded like a sequel, and I don't think there's anything better than watching a sequel without watching the first movie. So
that would have been clever.
Okay.
So it's number 2.
I was trying to figure out what number 3 was, and I was like racking my brains. Like, is it Pearl Harbor the movie? I was like, that's not a romantic comedy.
It's kind of a comedy of errors. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 1, a fire only clever words can kindle. That's Roxanne from 1987.
Roxanne.
I actually like that movie.
Yeah, come on, it's a great.
You
movie.
need to cut to the Community episode when we get to Roxanne.
Roxanne. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Number 3, nurses deserve respect too. That's Meet the Parents.
Oh, I'm
because he's a male nurse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So the nurse didn't have big hooters. Dang it.
Yeah.
I mean, if he lets himself go, like
he has a big good moves.
I'm pretty sure there's a movie where Ben Stiller is like in a fat suit. Maybe
there is.
Maybe I'm just like gaslighting.
No, it's actually Dodgeball at the very end, where he's.
It's the very, very end.
Ah, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
All right, and the one you picked, number 2, it never happened if it never happened.
I'm worried.
Was 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh,
yeah.
I have not seen that since freaking high school.
I haven't seen it for a really long time either.
All right,
and I've only seen it once, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I watched that in high school.
Yeah. Okay, I'm excited to actually watch this. I remember.
I think we.
Anyways, let's go.
I think we quoted that as much as Anchorman at the time.
Yeah, it's quite quotable. I think good picks. I actually would have been fine with almost all of those.
Which one would you not have been?
I always struggle with Meet the Parents a little bit. I always struggle with movies that where things just keep going wrong over and over and over again. Like happens in Meet the Parents, where he's always the bad guy and something's always wrong and he can never do right. And I get a little anxious in movies like that.
Gotcha.
I can watch them, I just get anxious. And they're not. I'm not.
Secondhand embarrassment can be. I was
kind of hoping you guys would pick Roxanne. I thought I had a better, more enticing.
Dude, Steve Martin and Daryl Hannah. Oh,
yeah, the whole movie is great.
It's a great movie.
It's okay. 40-Year-Old Virgin. It is.
Steve Carell.
Isn't Seth Green in that one too?
In what?
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh, I don't remember actually. It's been that long.
We shall find out next week.
All right.
Okay.
Well. All I can say is, gentlemen, it's been a great conversation. Scott, thank you for being with us. You are welcome anytime you ever want to be on here.
I have too many opinions about movies. Like I would probably incriminate myself at one point or another. So
well, your brother does all the time, so you might as well just join.
Oh yeah, what do you say?
I incriminated myself a few times.
No.
You know.
Don't let him know. He has to go back and watch the other one.
That's right.
Yeah, you gotta go watch.
We need views.
Don't report me. I only almost went to prison once in high school, so you know.
Like you should probably just want to do it anyway, because you could probably cut a bunch of stuff that John says throughout all of the podcasts into something really incriminating.
Oh yeah, if not with the police, with our
super
parents
cut.
At least.
Yeah, don't bring the police into it, but at least embarrass him at family get-togethers.
Like
mom knowing the fact I watched the 40-Year-Old Virgin while I was still in high school.
I don't think she would like that.
Naughty boy. So you just incriminated yourself right there. All right, Scott.
She doesn't listen to all of these.
Family
you can take that out in post, you know?
Yeah, edit and post.
He won't.
I'm not going to.
We'll do it live.
Not stuff like that, man. Woo. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being on, and to everybody out there listening, thank you for supporting our channel. And may you always be excellent to each other and live long and prosper from all of us here at Josh's House of Nerd. Good night.
Thanks for watching. For more nerdy awesomeness, please like and subscribe and check out our other nerdy videos.